Thanos, you're screwed, my friend. What is going on, guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is my review for the new MCU film, Captain Marvel. This film is directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, and it stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Jude Law, and Ben Mendelsohn. This movie centers around Carol Danvers, who is trying to figure out who she truly is, brought up as this Kree warrior and trying to do all these missions with other Kree warriors. However, she's having these glimpses of a past life that maybe she didn't have, or somebody else had, living on Earth and being an Air Force pilot. And she has to try to discover her true identity, as well as try to help stop the Kree and Skrull war. This is a movie that has had so much controversy around it since its initial pre-production days. I have to say that this film is okay. It's not a fantastic, groundbreaking Marvel film that we've come to kind of rely on within the past, 10 films or so. It's like every film now has to live up to a certain standard. I don't like that. I'm not going to put a certain standard on this film. It didn't have to have that expectation. But this is a movie that is very grounded in the fact that this doesn't try to be something like the Avengers. It doesn't try to be something that is so epic and monumental to the stakes of the world that is surrounding the MCU currently. And I like that the film does that. This really feels like its own natural, individual story that they're trying to tell, while also being wrapped up in the MCU and with characters that we've come to know, like Agent Coulson and Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. That's one of the big pluses of this film. One of the big positives that I can give it is that it does feel very individual from the other MCU films. However, there are a lot of issues with this film. I want to get into the issues first. I feel like the good does outweigh the bad, but there are some problems with this film. Number one, pacing in the first half of this movie was all over the place. It was so slow at times. Then it tried to speed it up. You could tell that they were trying to do something. They were trying to put some action sequences in certain shots. It didn't really feel like it fit the overall pacing of the film. If you take the first half of the movie, if you want it to be slow, that's fine. Make it a slow build. But it seems like this movie doesn't know what it wants to be at times, because it wants to be this movie about somebody who has amnesia, and then it also wants to be this film that is about kind of this war going on. Then it also wants to be a film that is trying to figure out what is actually happening between the Krees and the Skrulls. To me, it was all over the place with pacing, and that's my biggest issue with the film. The first hour of this film dragged. I felt like I was in the theater for 2 hours by the time that the second half of the film started. And to me, that is a big negative for this film, because it feels a lot longer than what it should be. The second half, though, of this movie is fantastic, especially the space sequence. It is my favorite sequence in the entire film, and that's towards the end. And you really get a sense of the true power that Captain Marvel has and harnesses, which really makes it where you're thinking, oh man, Thanos is screwed. There's no way he's going to get out of Avengers Endgame in one piece. However, again, there are other issues with this film. I love the character of Captain Marvel herself. However, I did not like Brie Larson's interpretation. Brie Larson is an amazing actress. Let me just get that out there. She is an Academy Award winning actress. She's insane. The Room, her performance in The Room is amazing. You should definitely watch The Room if you have not seen it, and you can get a better appreciation for Brie Larson. But I felt like her character was not empathetic enough. I could not feel any sense of emotion from her character, because to me, her performance was just very wooden. It was very on the nose. She played it very safe. And I could tell, I felt like a lot of it too was the direction. And I feel like if Brie Larson had more of a sense of encapturement about her actual situation, I could probably feel more sympathetic towards her, and I could also buy into Brie Larson's interpretation. But I felt like she was so wooden and so flat and so one-dimensional in this film that it just kind of seemed fake to me when she would smile or when she would try to do something different, and it just kind of came off as all the same note. So that is one big negative about this film, and I love Brie Larson. I don't want to say that Brie Larson is a bad actress. She's not. She's a fantastic actor, but it was just the way that she interpreted the role that I just could not buy into the character. However, there are some amazing characters in this film, though. One of them is Ben Mendelsohn. Ben Mendelsohn in this film was incredible. I thought his performance really carried a lot of the movie, and I could really buy into his character because really he was one of those villains that you feel for him. You know, there's something about him that there is a significant reason of why he's doing what he's doing and why he thinks what he's doing is correct and right. And so I bought into that, and I really liked his character a lot. And I felt like every time Ben Mendelsohn was on the screen, or you could hear his voice, because a lot of it was makeup, you could really buy into the villain, and you could really, you know, just kind of not root for the villain, but you had a better sense of what the film was going for. And the film was more enjoyable when Ben Mendelsohn was delivering his lines. Samuel L. Jackson does a great job as a de-aged Nick Fury, which was amazing. Some of the CGI that they did in this film is groundbreaking. I mean, we are truly living in the future, and it's such amazing time right now to live because of the CGI and these visual effects that we get. The visual effects in this movie are very good, astoundingly great, especially the space sequences, the powers that Captain Marvel uses. However, there are some instances where the CGI kind of looks video game-ish towards the end of the movie. And there's one scene in particular, this isn't a spoiler, by the way, there's one scene in particular where Captain Marvel is flying, or she's falling, she's falling from space, and she's trying to get the power to kind of fly and to get back up. And you see this shot of kind of her face, like a close-up of her face, and it just looks like something out of a video game. And that kind of took me out of the film for just a tad second. It's not like it's horrible CGI, but from what we got in Infinity War, it was definitely a downgrade for that aspect. But the de-aging stuff was amazing. I mean, I think this film has some of the best CGI with the de-aging of both Agent Coulson and Nick Fury. But there are some of those shots that, yeah, the CGI looks a little video game-ish. Another thing that really bothered me about the film that was a negative is some of the action sequences were great, but some of them were also not great. There are scenes where they do a lot of action cuts, and what I mean by action cuts is somebody's about to punch somebody, they cut away real quick, they go to a different angle, and then they do it again. And that bothers me. Black Panther did a lot of that too in the beginning of the film, but then towards the end of the movie it started picking up a lot better. In this film, it felt like a lot of those sequences were done that way, and I feel like it's because the directors did not have a lot of experience working in action before, and so some of the action sequences are just, you know, cut away right at the money shot, and I wanted them to just kind of stay there and just capture it all in, because when Brie Larson's punching the old lady in the face, that is probably one of the best action sequences in the entire film. But other than that, there are a couple of shots where it's just very dark and it's very cut, and I don't really like that for my action movies. I want to actually feel grounded in the experience, and that I'm actually watching the fight as if it's going on in front of my eyes in real life. The best duo in this movie is Goose the Cat and Samuel L. Jackson. Goose the Cat is one of the best characters to come into the MCU. It is a cat, but it is an amazing cat. I'm not going to give anything away, but the scenes with Goose the Cat were just incredible. I was thinking of my younger siblings and thinking about how like they would enjoy this movie because of the cat alone. And so if you love cats, this is definitely your movie, because Goose the Cat is one of the best characters in the MCU, and I really hope that we get to see more of Goose in future installments of the MCU, and I think we will, because the cat was definitely a crowd pleaser in my theater. The dynamic between Samuel L. Jackson and the cat made it so much more fun and entertaining, and I couldn't get enough of that kind of partnership or that duo on screen. It was great. Overall, though, this is a movie that is okay. When it is good, this movie is great. When it is bad, this movie is very slow and it is very mispaced. And that is all I can say about it. It's tough to really say how I truly feel about this movie. I'd have to go into spoiler territory, but I will be doing my spoiler review this weekend. I will say this though, the first post-credit scene is the most important and most relevant MCU post-credit scene ever. There has never been one post-credit scene that has been so important in the MCU film universe than this post-credit scene. So that's all I'll say. I will not give anything away, so make sure you go check it out. Anyway guys, that is my review for Captain Marvel. What do you guys think? Let me know below in the comments section. What are your thoughts on Captain Marvel? Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my content for more videos just like this, and as always, I will see you guys in my next video.